welcome back. I'm Amber Fisher.
And I'm Jake Salvey. We're just a few days away from St. Patrick's Day, and students here on campus are already getting into the spirit. Last night, the Student Events Board hosted a Charms and Snacks event.
And students were able to meet in the Student Union to make charm bracelets and socialize ahead of St. Patty's Day weekend. AVI supplied themed snacks with cupcakes and lemonade. And with St. Patrick's Day on Monday, the St. Patrick's Day Parade is kicking off in Albany tomorrow.
This is an annual tradition that brings in hundreds of spectators to the capital city. The parade starts at 2 p.m. at Lexington and Central in Albany. The parade will feature the Albany AOH, South End Irish, and many more.
And if you plan on driving into Albany for the parade or any of the other festivities downtown, expect a lot of road closures. For the North Albany Limerick Parade, stretches of Broadway, North Pearl, and North First Street will be closed from 11 to 2 with additional parking restrictions. And for the Albany St. Patty's Day Parade, they will begin staging the parade at 8 a.m. with parts of Central Ave, Lexington, and Quail closed off to the public. For the total road closures and parking restrictions, go to albany.com or the Albany Police Department Facebook page. And on Tuesday, Saints tested their bartending abilities at CA Lexi's Perfect Pour event in Snyder Hall.
Students gave their best attempt at perfectly pouring a shot. They also had the chance to enter a raffle for some Siena swag, but eligibility depended on how close they got to a perfect shot. The old St. Rose campus has been sitting vacant since it shut down last summer. Now, new plans are in motion for the 27-acre lot in the Pine Hills neighborhood.
Albany County Executive Dan McCoy signed a temporary licensing agreement this week. Our own Matt Coloma has the latest on the plans for this former college.
After opening its doors in 1920, the College of St. Rose was once a beacon for higher education in the capital region. And since closing its doors in June of 2024, the campus has been abandoned. That is, till now. And I'm here at the College of St. Rose, where the Albany County Legislator's Office has just announced a revitalization plan of the campus.
It was a no-brainer.
A press conference was held today to announce the transfer of ownership of the College of St. Rose to the Pine Hills Land Authority. The Albany County Legislator's Office Chair is encouraged by this latest step forward in revitalizing the campus.
Stay seated, stay ready, because there's going to be a lot of interesting things going on here and a lot of opportunities, a lot of things that hopefully are going to announce that are outside the box, which people are going to be surprised at. But I got to line up. And the hardest thing right now is to own the property. So I am so happy to stand here today with my partners to announce that, yes, after Kevin and I sign all the documents, we will be the official owners of the St. Rose campus to reimagine.
One of the major plans for the campus is to repurpose it for new affordable and senior housing. Albany County Legislator Deputy Chair Wanda Willingham stated that they think the whole idea of putting senior housing here is that there will be security. It can be in one specific area where people will be able to walk to restaurants. They have their own little small park, but they'll feel safe. Albany County Legislator Democratic Majority Leader Dennis Feeney would add, as a vital asset in an incredible location, the College of St. Rose campus holds enormous potential for Albany County. For Morning Brew, I'm Matthew Coloma. Jake and Amber, back to you guys.
Thank you, Matt. And in a hypothetical 2026 election poll published by the Siena College Research Institute, Governor Kathy Hochul is less than favorable.
The poll questioned on 3 key points: protection of constitutional rights, ensuring access to quality and affordable health care, and making New York safer. Governor Hochul has a positive job approval rating, but when it comes to New York affordability, she comes 11 points under. The poll also discussed favorability of the Supreme Court, New York City Mayor Eric Adams, and former governor and current New York City mayoral candidate Andrew Cuomo. Graduating in May, this past Wednesday, Siena hosted its annual graduation showcase.
There were tables to ask commencement-related questions, buy your regalia, which is on sale now through April 14th, so be sure to go get it soon. And if you're looking for graduate programs, check out the events page on Siena's website for all upcoming events. And over the break, students at Siena traveled south for the annual Habitat for Humanity trip.
Our Ethan Smith has more on the story.
It's the week after spring break. The classes have resumed, the wildlife is out and about, and Siena College puts another successful Habitat for Humanity trip in the books.
They have what they call the College Challenge. So during spring breaks, usually late February through March. Colleges, students participate going down. It's usually in the south because it's a little warmer weather, but there's habitat programs everywhere. Here at Siena, we usually go down to South Carolina.
Siena prides itself on providing its students with not only a quality education, but turning out upstanding future citizens of service as well.
All about helping the community and giving back to those who are less fortunate. And it's really important for us to contribute to that, just so that Siena can really show how dedicated we are to helping others and especially the community around us.
I think this is a good opportunity for young people to do something beneficial and to help someone who may not be able to afford housing to be able to have a house to raise their family.
And that's not all the program has to offer either. In fact, one of the students found out that she wouldn't even be here today at Siena if it wasn't for Habitat for Humanity.
So when my parents were here at Siena, both of them actually met on their Habitat for Humanity trip in their sophomore year. And I'm a sophomore, and I thought that would be really cool to kind of continue that legacy, and it's just really something that was special to me.
Just another way Siena is giving students the education of a lifetime while instilling lessons and values they can take with them forever. Reporting for the Morning Brew, I'm Ethan Smith.
Thank you, Ethan. And do you have any interest in studying abroad? The Study Abroad office offered their yearly session answering all your important questions alongside Siena Study Abroad returnees on Tuesday.
And if you missed out, don't worry. You can always make an appointment with the Study Abroad office to learn more. Speaking of study abroad, our Joe Lemery just returned from one of Siena's numerous study abroad experiences. To tell us more, let's go to Joe in Costa Rica.
From food to festivities, spring break did not disappoint for Dr. Adam Flieger and Dr. Laura Paul's Management 290 class. The 11-day trip made stops in San Jose and in Guanacaste, at Liberia and Samara. It's safe to say the Costa Rica study abroad trip was certainly one for the ages.
The social aspect was really impactful, and learning to be with people for multiple days, and then figuring out tougher times, but then also learning about the culture of the country we visited, and then how landscapes can change just by not that much of a distance.
The trip started off in the capital of Costa Rica in San Jose. Here, students had the chance to learn and explore the city. As a group, they were able to see the Costa Rican Rugby Federation and visit the Costa Rican Track Federation. They received lectures and history lessons about the sports and the facilities. Students got to explore the University of Costa Rica. At the university, they toured the campus and its athletic facilities. This was a great opportunity for students to see the difference in facilities compared to the United States. Now, of course, this trip had to have soccer involved. Costa Ricans love their soccer. Students attended a La Liga soccer match, or known as LDA, which is one of the most popular professional Costa Rican soccer teams in their country. Many students got to see their first volcano on this journey. Faculty and students brought out the Siena flag and represented in fashion.
Learning about the culture of the country we visited, and then how landscapes can change just by not that much of a distance, and then seeing big nature landscapes that we don't have here in the US, volcanoes, the jungle, then the animals that come with it, and then also just the native side of the country was very interesting to experience as well.
And if you like coffee, this was certainly the trip for you. Students explored 2 different coffee farms and got to taste some of the best quality coffee out there. The farms explained the process of cherry picking and just how long it takes for coffee beans to develop. And of course, this trip would not be complete without the adventures. Liberia and Samara had it all. From ziplining to surfing, students had their fair share of thrills and fun. Reporting in Costa Rica for Morning Brew, I'm Joe Lemery.
Thanks, Joe. And the temperature is heating up, and so is the world of sports.
The Gay Straight Alliance held a March Madness bracket and food night Tuesday, diving into all things basketball. While students here in Loudonville are getting in the March Madness spirit, the Siena men's and women's basketball teams are duking it out in their MAC tournaments. And we'll get to the women's team in just a minute, but the men's team faced off with a familiar foe on Tuesday. The Saints took on Ryder for the second time this season, looking to avenge a loss in the regular season that saw the Saints lose to a putback at the buzzer. Siena took a 2-point lead into the half, but the end of this game looked all too familiar. Ryder center Tariq Ingram would score on a tip-in with 0.7 seconds to go to win the game and end the Saints' season.
And despite the tough loss, first-year coach Jerry McNamara said after the game, quote, "Couldn't be prouder of the fight we gave, but tonight sums up how the season's been for us. We could be on the other end of 7, 8 games. It's unfortunate because we have a competitive group. We just weren't able to capitalize and close out the games this season." And as for Siena's women's team, they would take on Merrimack in their first-round matchup.
Siena would unfortunately suffer a loss, dropping the game 79-72. Despite the loss, the Saints were able to overcome an up-and-down start to the season and still land the 3rd seed in the tournament. Our own Joe Lemry is in Atlantic City right now with more.
I'm here at the Atlantic City Boardwalk. The MAC championships for basketball are in full swing. 20 teams from both the men's and women's side will be competing to hoist that championship trophy, but only 2 teams will have the chance to win it. It's March, and the madness here has just begun. For the 6th straight year, the MAC tournament is being held at the historic Jim Wellen Boardwalk Hall. The MAC currently has 13 schools aligned with the conference, and only the top 10 from the conference qualify for the tournament. On the women's side, the Siena women's basketball team represented the Capital Region as the 3 seed in the tournament. I asked a few Saints what their feelings were before their eventual loss to Merrimack on Thursday night.
I'm super excited. These girls have been working really hard all year round, and they just, deserve to just come down here and leave it all out on the floor. So I'll just be cheering from them on the side, and we're just ready to battle for that championship in the end.
As a freshman, I'm really excited for the MAC tournament. It's giving the vibes of like state tournament in Washington, so I kind of got similar vibes, but I have personally never made it like far in that state tournament, so I'm looking forward with this team to progress and like get to the championship and obviously like win the championship, which is a big goal, but I still I visualize it and I want to do it. So
I would say emotions are a little bittersweet right now, but they are a little high, obviously, because I want to win a championship, being that this is my last go-round. So I'm giving my all. I'm inspiring my teammates. I'm being that leader out there on the court. I think the expectation for this game is just to execute, being in sync with the team, playing together, and having fun. You can't have fun. You can't play a basketball game and not have fun. So I just think having fun, execute the system, and just play together.
I even got a chance to speak with the head manager of Siena women's basketball and got his thoughts.
It's my 3rd time being here, so I just enjoy the moment while I can. As being a senior, you experience it since your freshman year. So, I enjoy being here, watching the team play at their high level.
Now, despite the loss last night to Merrimack, some of the Saints were able to enjoy some of this beautiful spring weather here in Atlantic City. Jake is with us in Loudonville. Jake, how are the students enjoying the spring weather there?
Yes, thank you, Joe. I'm glad you and the basketball teams got to enjoy the nice weather down in Jersey. But back up here in Loudonville, we're also getting a taste of the spring weather. I'm definitely enjoying having the warm back, and the students couldn't be happier about it. Siena Saints were out in full force this week with temperatures on campus reaching upwards of 70 degrees, and the students were definitely making the most of this opportunity.
I love going outside. I've been taking little walks with my friends, doing some work outside.
I think the weather's really great. I like the warm weather. It's a very nice change from the kind of crappy snow that we've gotten over the past few weeks.
And a lot of other students had similar ideas. The quad was packed with Saints enjoying Starbucks, getting homework done, or just throwing around a ball. Or a frisbee. The front lawn has started to pick back up this week, with the frisbee team starting to warm up in this warm weather.
Going out to the quad, throwing a frisbee around with my friends, coming out here to the front lawn, throwing at my practice is just a great thing to do.
Probably attending my sports practices. Field hockey should be moving outside, and of course, ultimate practice.
As you can tell, students are definitely glad to have the warm weather back. And so is Siena, as they started to set back up outdoor areas such as the Nigro Plaza and the SSU Paddock. Some more perfect hangout spots available for the Saints to enjoy the sun. And despite the beautiful weather this week, some areas saw snow overnight Wednesday here in New York, and there's still some left over at Siena. But any remnants are expected to be melted by the end of the weekend. Reporting from Loudonville with the Morning Brew, I'm Jake Salvey.
And coming up, I'll be talking to the Dean of the School of Business about a lecture series here on campus.
Plus, Donald Trump is coming to Amazon Prime, when you can watch.
And a look at the stars. We'll introduce you to the Astro Club. Welcome back. Siena is lucky to host a yearly event called the Louis Golub Executive Lecture Series, in which the School of Business invites a leading business professional to speak on campus. This year, Dr. Pamela Lirio is coming to campus to discuss the responsible use of AI in the workplace. And I'm joined today by Dr. Rashmi Asudani, Dean of the School of Business. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
And one thing I'd like to start off with is, can you tell me a little bit about the lecture series and its impact on campus?
Absolutely. So this lecture, the vision began with Mr. Louis Golub, who is a Siena alum from 1953, passionate about philanthropy and very committed to the community as well, and a very predominant and prominent business owner as well. So his daughter, Ms. Sherry Golub, class of 1986, Siena alum again, contributed to his vision by establishing this lecture series, which really focuses on social responsibility and business practices. Really key, this is a Franciscan institution that we are in. The business school belongs to Siena, the mission of which is everything Franciscan. So for us to be talking about business practices within the mission that we so fondly uphold, this lecture series provides us the opportunity to do that, and we fully leverage it.
Yeah, and you touched on this a little bit, but can you tell me about the impact that these lecture series have on the School of Business?
Absolutely. So in our the School of Business strategic plan, one of the key priority areas is on social responsibility and inclusivity. In our societal impact plan for the School of Business, we have focused everything related to the impact that the business school will make towards the society. Anything that we expect or wish to do on behalf of the School of Business is by way of how our students will perform. So by having all these lectures, we are always working towards infusing these topics and these areas in terms of the learnings of our students And so they are the trailblazers as they go out and start making the changes in the world as well.
Yeah, and definitely a topic like AI is so important to bring to the forefront of the conversation. Can you tell me a little bit more about what Dr. Lirio is going to be speaking about?
Absolutely. So each year when we hold the Golub Lecture, we're looking at what are some contemporary topics and topics of importance to our faculty, to our students, to our staff, as also to the community within and outside of Siena and in the region as well. And in the conversations that we've had with some of the prominent business people, AI keeps coming up. There isn't a journal or an article that goes by each day where AI is not mentioned. So let me tell you, in 2017, when MIT was talking about AI and they were doing all that research, 6% of the organizations were embracing AI at that time. We're now 10 times over, almost tenfold. So that's the growth that's happening in the industry that's cutting across so many different areas. You talk about healthcare, you talk about finance, you talk about retail, you talk about production. I mean, everywhere you're talking about the impact that AI is going to be having. But Deloitte's survey, and there are many other surveys that have also raised the concerns and have pointed out about the ethical concerns, ethical considerations that we need to be mindful of as we are embracing AI in our work practices and personal as also professional lives, right? So Dr. Lirio, she is a faculty at University of Montreal, and her research has been in the area of AI and ethics. In 2023, she was identified as one of 100 best women in the area of artificial intelligence and ethics. She's very much plugged into the industry, is also into the academic space, a global speaker, and works with industry and academia across the globe. And that's what she's bringing in to the topic that we'll be discussing on April the 3rd.
That's amazing. And it's amazing that you're able to get such an expert to come here onto campus. And that's actually one thing I want to ask you about. When you're putting together this lecture series, how do you choose the speakers?
So obviously, the first thing is to pick up on the topic. It has to be relevant and it has to make sense for all of us, right? It has to be meaningful and purposeful for all of us. And then we go around working with our colleagues here within the Siena community. And the business school has a very active business advisory board where I have more than 18 members from the business community that sit with me and work with the dean as also my leadership team. So I have conversations with several of them. So last year's Golub speaker was the Chief Learning Officer of GE Global. And Jay, who's the Chief Learning Officer of GE Global, is actually on my board. So he was the speaker last year. This year, as we were looking into the topics, and Dr. Lirio in particular, I know her pretty well, and I've followed the kind of work that she does. And as we were exploring the various speakers, my team, Dr. Laura Paul, Jen Atanasio, Diane, Hannes in the School of Business, as also Robin Sanders from our development team, all of them were vetting the different names, and Dr. Lirio landed up being the best fit for us.
That's amazing. And what do you hope students will take away from this lecture?
So my hope is that the content knowledge is definitely great. So we learn about these things in the classrooms, right? But when we hear from global speakers like Dr. Lirio, there's a different kind of a learning that comes along. The format of this conversation is not going to be somebody standing behind the podium and speaking to the audience. It's a fireside chat. So it's conversational, and it'll be open for a Q&A with the students as well. So my hope is that the conversations that we hear that day, which are not just impacting the region, but also the global landscape, inform our students about what they can take away and how they need to be prepared as they're walking into the global landscape as well.
And speaking of the global landscape, could you touch a little bit upon the ties that you've created between the School of Business and local businesses and others in the community?
Absolutely. So So, as a business school, I think we are absolutely aware that business is a part of the society. We are a microcosm of the society, right? We're a part of the society. And in order for the business to be doing good for the society, including the businesses that exist in the area, we've got to be closely tied with them. So when I arrived in fall of 23, there was a lot of conversations I had with the Chamber of Commerce here, started building relationships there. I inherited a very nice business advisory board of the business executives, and we've since been very strategic and intentional about how we want to populate that board in terms of the types of industries, the type of companies, and the types of disciplines that I want seen on that board. And I am thrilled with the composition that I have right now, ranging from a president of a recruiting company to GE Vernova to KPMG and Grant Thornton. So we have a very good representation of large and mid-sized and smaller companies. And and that then becomes my team that opens doors to other places as well. So
that's amazing. And before we go, do you have any parting thoughts that you'd like to add?
I would absolutely be thrilled to see many, many members of our Siena community participate and attend this event. We hope that this becomes a signature event. This annual event becomes a signature event for the School of Business, as also for Siena. It just puts us at a different level. And this year, I've reached out to my fellow deans at other institutions as well. As I'm looking up at the RSVP list, we expect many members from the business community and the external community being here. I would love for an internal community to be attending as well, so we can take maximum advantage of the conversations there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining me today and talking about this really important lecture. I can't wait to see it.
I appreciate the time.
Thank you. And coming up later in the show, Jake and I take an in-depth look at the Astronomy Club and the observatory on campus. Stay with us. Welcome back. Let's take a look at the top entertainment stories this week. According to New York police, former talk show host Wendy Williams was taken to a hospital in New York for evaluation on Monday. The NYPD has confirmed that officers conducted a wellness check on Williams at the senior living facility where she has been staying. Williams, a beloved icon in the talk show world, has a court-appointed guardian that has been in charge of both her finances and her health since May of 2022. In recent months, the 60-year-old has been in an ongoing legal battle to end the conservatorship. In 2023, Williams' guardian revealed that she had been diagnosed with dementia. However, in recent months, Williams has disputed the diagnosis. Williams says that on record, she feels like she is, quote, in prison with older people at the assisted living facility. Williams has also alleged that she doesn't know what medications the facility is giving her. And the popular reality TV show that introduced Donald Trump into the national spotlight is now streaming exclusively on Amazon Prime. Amazon is set to stream the first 7 seasons of The Apprentice. The reality show debuted in 2004 and aired around 200 episodes in the U.S. It involved 16 candidates who took on various challenges for a $250,000 salary as an apprentice at the Trump Organization. The first season hit the platform on Monday, with a new season being added every week. President Trump will likely profit from this acquisition, since he also served as the show's executive producer. Yet, the amount has not been disclosed, as Prime failed to comment on how much Trump stands to make in this deal. And have you ever felt like movies nowadays just aren't that long? Well, one filmmaker, known for his long movies, is set to release his longest movie yet. David Daniel has more on this week's edition of the Hollywood Minute.
We knew from our experience with Titanic and with the first Avatar that we really needed to wait and see how it played out.
James Cameron makes popular movies and long movies, and his next film, Avatar: Fire and Ash, due out in December, could be his longest yet. Cameron told the UK film outlet Empire it'll be longer than 2022's Avatar: The Way of Water, which he says was moving like a bullet train and didn't spend enough time on characters. The Way of Water ran 3 hours and 12 minutes, just shy of Cameron's longest, 3 hours and 14 minutes for Titanic.
First time I met Rutger, we were going to be filming in Prague. The first thing he did was grab me and put me on the back of his Goldwing bike and drive me through the streets of Prague.
Rutger Hauer was a private man, but many of those who knew the Dutch actor were awed by him. The new documentary, Like Tears in Rain, features his wife, friends, and colleagues, as well as footage from the actor's personal archive. Like Tears in Rain, named for Hauer's improvised final line in Blade Runner, debuts Thursday on Viaplay. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Thanks, David. And Billy Joel announced this Tuesday that he's postponing several tour dates after undergoing surgery. Known affectionately as the Piano Man, Joel wrote on social media his tour will be postponed for 4 months so that he can undergo physical therapy. Joel underwent surgery for an undisclosed medical condition and is expected to make a full recovery. He said while he regrets postponing his shows, his health comes first, and he looks forward to getting back on the stage soon. The singer-songwriter is postponing 8 shows, with the tour set to resume in July. Ticket holders for the postponed shows will have their tickets honored for new performances set for next year. And finally, Michelle Obama and her brother are launching a podcast. According to her production company, the podcast will be called IMO, or In My Opinion. She'll host the podcast with her older brother, Craig Robinson. Obama says they are launching the podcast to allow people to have, quote, thoughtful conversations about life. Some of the guests expected on the podcast will include director Tyler Perry, actors Seth Rogen, and Issa Rae. The first 2 episodes dropped on Wednesday. And when we come back, SCTV's Tiana Xavier takes us to the Damietta Cross-Cultural Center to learn more about proactive allyship. Plus, we took a trip to the Brew Observatory. We'll take a look at what our friends at the Astronomy Club are up to this week. Don't go anywhere, and we'll be right back. Thank you for joining us. Jake and I are joined here today by the president and the secretary of Astronomy Club here on top of Roger Bacon, right outside of the Brew Observatory. Could you tell me your name?
My name is Keith Pritchard Jr., and I'm the Astro Club president.
And I'm Grace Scher. I'm the Astro Club secretary.
Cool. And Keith, I'm going to start off by asking you a question. Could you tell me a little bit about what the observatory is and what its purpose is on campus?
So the Brew Observatory was opened in 2018, and the main purpose of this is to engage students both on campus and people off campus through our efforts of outreach. And so this is one of the best telescopes that we have, and it's a research-grade telescope that's in there. So students are able to come up and do different research projects using the telescope.
Awesome, awesome.
All right, and then do you guys mind talking a little bit about what Astronomy Club really is and kind of what the average meeting looks like?
So Astronomy Club really is our student-based outreach program to get students all across campus through any types of majors involved using the Brew, collecting data, observing planets, and we also tend to host about once monthly public outreach events for the local Albany community to get them, kids, parents, local teachers, and high schools to come in and use our telescope. The average meeting, it's really just us goofing around in the Brew. We find an object we want to see, whether it be a comet that's passing by, maybe an exoplanet transit that we think is interesting, but majority of the time it's the moon or the planets, and we're just basking in the glory of the sky. So yeah.
That sounds super cool. And can you tell me a little bit about the importance of the observatory and why it's important for students to have access to it on campus?
Yeah, it's very important for students to have access because it engages students in astrophysics and physics concepts. I know a lot of people aren't necessarily STEM majors, but it branches, the club branches out to those different types of people, and then we really want to be a welcoming community and environment for everyone to, understand astronomy and astronomy concepts as well.
Yeah.
And for those that are in the astronomy and astrophysics major, the Brew telescope is our stepping stone into getting experience in our field. It's kind of hard to get an internship if there's not a local observing community or a local college that has a telescope. So the fact that Siena has their own, when we're applying to grad school or business opportunities or going into the workforce, we can say, hey, we've done experience, we've had these kind of opportunities before, and it really boosts our resume.
And then you talked about a little bit, you just said how the observatory is kind of a stepping stone in the pathway to your careers. How often do you guys get to use the observatory? Is it just with the meetings, or do you guys get some extra time?
So as observatory assistants, we tend to have an observatory assistant come up here once a week. So that's each observatory assistant, so that's about 5 days a week that we're up here. It all depends on the weather, but as much as possible we are up here. So I'm up here probably 3-4 days a week during the night, and I am doing observing sessions. I know Keith is up here a lot with club meetings.
Club meetings, maintenance, just making sure everything's smooth running.
Yeah, so very often.
And you talked a little bit about this, but could you tell me more about the equipment that's found inside the observatory?
Yeah, so we have a 0.7 meter telescope. It is the largest telescope in the capital region, and is the third largest in New York State, and it's also research grade, as I mentioned before. And attached to it, we have a spectrograph, and we have 2 cameras. One is a CCD camera and one is a CMOS camera. And I won't really get into much detail about that, but it's a lot of physics and astro that we can do with those.
That sounds so cool. And I think that we are going to head inside and check out what's in there. All right.
And now that we're inside the Brew Observatory, do you guys want to walk us through the equipment here and kind of how the observations take place?
Yeah, sure. So the equipment that we have an eyepiece that's over here. So that's for your standard telescope operations, where you just put your eye up there and we point out a target, and then you'll be able to see pretty much anything we want. And then on the other side, we can switch a port, and then we basically have the CCD camera, the CMOS camera, and the spectrograph. And that's for just more analysis on the targets that we have. The cameras, they basically just capture the light images, and then with the spectrograph, that's for more deeper analysis for the elements that are within a planet or within a star or a galaxy.
And then to actually operate the telescope itself, we have the main computer, which is connected to both the telescope's motor. So this software handles pointing the telescope. It has a large catalog for both Messier objects and the planets, and we can also input the celestial coordinates for any object that we want. And then it also is connected to the dome itself, so the dome can move independent of the telescope should we need to close up if there starts raining or snowing. And then this also handles all of our data that's downloaded and can be accessed by professors and students who are doing their data analysis, data reduction, and their research projects.
Super cool. And then I know that a lunar eclipse is coming up. Could you guys tell me a little bit about what the observatory does for something like that, or if there are any other special events that are coming up?
So I know for the lunar eclipse, we're going to try and have a couple students out here on the deck. It's really late at night, so we don't expect many people to show up. But for celestial events that happen pretty often, like the comet we had earlier this year, and for the total solar eclipse, even though Siena wasn't in the full path of totality, the Siena Astronomy Club and the physics department had a campus-wide event where we had solar glasses go out to everybody. We had people on the yard and the quad trying to view the solar eclipse. And then Keith can talk about the trip they took to be into the path of totality.
Oh, Lord. That was amazing. So we took a trip to Tupper Lake, which is about 2-3 hours north. That's basically in the path of totality, so you can see the moon passing right in front of the sun. And it's one of the greatest things to experience. If you guys ever want to experience a solar eclipse, go and experience a solar eclipse. But yeah, it's so life-changing. But yeah, that's pretty much what we do. So like for outreach events, so if it's any eclipses that happen or anything that's astronomical that happens, we try to like let the campus know, and we also try to do, you know, public observing events to make the community aware of, you know, different astronomical events that are happening.
And you guys have talked about a lot of amazing things you've seen here. Do y'all have like a specific favorite memory from the observatory?
My favorite memory wasn't an actual object we looked at, but we had a senior community center come and do the tour of the telescope. And so it was a bunch of people who reminded me much of my grandmother and grandfather, and they came in and they just had so many questions. And you know, when you're with a bunch of students, they kind of be like, oh, I have to ask an academic question, or questions gonna make me seem smart. But they just were here for the love and the interest of space, and they were so passionate about it, and it made my heart so warm. So that was my favorite moment.
My favorite moment has to be when we were doing research over the summer, and we had to repair the telescope, and we're just all in town here trying to like mess with like wires and try to put everything in order. That was pretty cool, and it also like helped us with like understanding like how the telescope operates with the details inside versus what we do here. So it's pretty cool, and it also definitely sets the bar. It sets the bar for teamwork, and it also sets the bar for you know, putting instrumentation on your resume. Say like, oh, like not only have I used a telescope, I know how to operate and fix one too. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's really amazing. Thank you both so much for giving us a tour of the observatory. And Siena is so lucky to have something like the Brew Observatory right here on campus.
Yeah.
And thank you so much. We'll be right back with you. Siena College is home to a vibrant community that provides inclusion and proactive support. This Wednesday, the Damietta Cross-Cultural Center, in collaboration with the Creative Arts Department, hosted a forum on proactive allyship, using real-life scenarios to empower students with the confidence to step in when challenges arise. Our own Tiana Xavier has the story.
The Damietta Cross-Cultural Center is at the heart of Siena's commitment to diversity and inclusion. Through intentional programming, workshops, uplifting students, and making them feel seen, Damietta amplifies culture and connection on campus, encouraging proactive allyship every step of the way.
As a Damietta advocate, I basically act as a initiator for the missions that Damietta focuses on, which is diversity, inclusion, and equity. We act as voices for the underrepresented student population at Damietta. So usually BIPOC students don't really get a say, and we represent them in bigger initiatives like PACDI, Presidential Advisory Council for Diversity and Inclusion. So we basically bring the problems that we face as students of color on campus to like a bigger stage so they can get addressed and hopefully solved.
Tonight, Damietta is teaming up with the Creative Arts Department in order to host Cafe Damietta Step In, Step Out Forum. This forum is put into place to give students real-life experiences in order to teach them how to navigate uncomfortable situations confidently and correctly, especially when it matters most. At the SSU, you can feel the energy as students engage with real-life scenarios, building both skills and a sense of community. This forum isn't just about talking, it's about empowering every student to step up as an ally because taking action is always better than standing by.
I think Damietta just embodies what it takes to be an inclusive space that is safe and also a brave space for everyone. It has a variety of affinity groups that make up Damietta, so it's not just the Damietta Lounge in the SSU, but it's the people, it's the clubs that keep it alive, that make it more inclusive, because we have the Black Student Union, we have the Latinx Student Association, we have the Muslim Student Association, the Asian Student Association, the Gay Straight Alliance, like we've also recently just created the Indigenous Student Union. We are creating a force of fire that is creating a space for everyone.
With initiatives like these, the Damietta Center continues to create a campus where every student feels seen, heard, and supported. Now, this may not be join the club, but it's definitely join the center, and you can be a part of it too. You could be an advocate for others and also an advocate for yourself. So what do you say? Remember, reporting from the SSU, I'm Tiana Xavier for SCTV.
Welcome to What's Fizzin', where we take a look at what Siena students have been talking about on the app Fizz this week. Let's get right into it. So we start with the first one. Guys, it's warm out. College is fun again. I couldn't agree more. There's nothing like a random Tuesday afternoon just sitting in McCluskey Commons procrastinating your homework. It's arguably one of the greatest joys life has to offer. Moving on, I'll admit it, things just haven't been the same since Joe left the Impractical Jokers. 2021 was a horrific year, and Joe leaving Impractical Jokers just made it worse. I don't think anyone's ever fully recovered yet still. Moving on, the Siena Hall stairs are brutal. That's true. I've seen Siena D1 athletes gets winded on these, so no one's safe from what Siena Hall has to offer. Moving on, everyone seems so much happier. A new breath of life has been brought to campus. I couldn't be more excited. The only new breath of life I've gotten is to perform the greatest academic comeback you guys have ever seen. I will be graduating, and I promise you that. Moving on, short kings stay inside today. I saw an eagle circling around campus. It is that season, the birds of prey are out again, so we all do have to be safe and on the lookout. Eagles are terrifying creatures. Moving on, can we bring back Be Real? That era was so fun. Nah. Moving on, we should tell high schoolers not to waste their money on college so that there's way more jobs for us. I'll be real, if you're worried about high schoolers taking your job, I think that's a you problem. Join my academic comeback wave and you'll be fine. Moving on, how it feels to sit and listen to the teacher while everyone else is packing up. You know, if we had more people like this, we wouldn't see fizzes like the last one, so I'm hoping everyone picks up their game. Next one, excited for classes? Nope. Excited for the Darty? I'm sure you guys have all seen the Siena Barstool post. You guys better be outside. 1 p.m. St. Patty's Day. And that seems to be all we have for you this week for What's Fizzin'. So feel free to send in a fizz you would like featured on next week's edition to the Siena College TV Instagram. When we come back, take a look at what fun Siena has in store after St. Paddy's Day weekend on your week ahead. Welcome back. Let's take a look at some of this week's upcoming events.
Tickets are now on sale for the annual Mr. Siena pageant on April 5th. This fundraising event helps support Habitat for Humanity, and this year the event is celebrating their 20th anniversary. Pre-sale tickets are $6 and tickets at the door are $9. Be sure to be there and support your fellow Saints.
The nominations for the 2025 Student and Leadership Involvement Awards are now live. There are 13 awards, so be sure to check them out on Saints Connect. The deadline for nominations is March 23rd at 11:59 p.m.
Looking for an internship opportunity or preparing for what to do after graduation? Make sure you make an appointment with the McDonald Career and Internship Center. They're having drop-in hours on Monday, Thursday, and Fridays from 12 to 2 in Foy Hall, room 203. This is a great opportunity to help prepare resumes, cover letters, and navigate Handshake. Make sure you stop by.
According to the University of Michigan, suicide is the second leading cause of death in college students. Siena is doing their part in helping combat this statistic. Today, starting at 11 a.m., there will be suicide prevention training. You can attend in person or virtually, and if you missed today's training, there will be 2 more this semester. The sign-up for this training can be found in the Student Digest sent to your email.
This past Wednesday, SCTV Live at 7 had its first episode of the semester. The show can be seen along with all of our Morning Brew episodes on the Siena College Communications Program YouTube page and our Instagram. And while you're there, be sure to give us a follow to stay up to date on all things Siena. Next week, there will be another edition on Wednesday at 7 that will air live in Casey's.
Tomorrow, Siena will have its annual Friar Fest. This event starts at 8 p.m. and will have events from karaoke with friars to an exclusive t-shirt for the first 100 attendees. Don't miss it.
And that'll do it for us. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us this morning.
And make sure to subscribe to the Siena College Communications Program YouTube page and the SCTV Instagram page at sienacollege.tv.
We'll see you next Friday.